everybody, it's Suzanne Orlando, your anxiety alchemist, and today I'm coming to you with a live video here. And in this video today, I'm going to talk to you about how to decrease your need to people please. So let me back up a little bit here. Yesterday in this group, I posted an image, and in the image it described what high functioning anxiety looks like, and it got a lot of feedback and a lot of response, and a lot of you checked it out, and a lot of you were able to relate to how high functioning anxiety looks. But what people don't realize, people with high functioning anxiety seem to have so many amazing put together qualities, but underneath the surface, there's a lot of things that we, and I say we collectively because I have struggled historically with being a high functioning anxietist, as one of my friends has coined that phrase, anxietist, and have overcome a lot of those obstacles. And one of the things that a lot of people commented about, I asked, what are things that you relate to that's underneath the surface? And a lot of people said in the image, it said people pleasing was one of those huge things. And a lot of people who responded to my post, and I'm sure those who read it and didn't respond, were able to say that people pleasing is something that they recognize, that they struggle with tremendously. So I wanted to address that today because it's one of the bigger things that people can relate to, right? I too, I think it's a constant work in progress. It's something that I've struggled with in the past and currently that I'm constantly in awareness of. So what the problem is, okay, so the need to people please. So there's a huge problem that comes with that, right? We feel tremendously guilty, most of us who are people pleasers, when it comes to focusing on ourselves and our own needs. And oftentimes what happens is we leave ourselves in last place. We put everybody else's needs before us. And if you think about people pleasing, there's a lot of different tiers to that, right? We can think about our own families, our children, putting them first, our obligations. And I'm not talking about work obligations. I'm talking about social obligations. I'm talking about family obligations, things that you might not feel you want to do, or things that you might not feel you want to participate in, but you kind of do it anyway because you don't want to disappoint others. And what happens? What's the problem when we are constantly in the flow and we're constantly in the energy of feeling guilty, feeling bad, not wanting to disappoint others, not wanting to say no to shit that we just don't want to do, is not only do we put ourselves and our own needs last, but in our heads, like in our subconscious minds, we are completely minimizing our value as people. We're completely minimizing our own personal value to things because we're seeing our stuff as less important than that of others, even if it's shit that we can totally say, I don't really care about this. I don't want to do this. This doesn't serve any purpose to me, because the main thing at the surface here is if I say no, if I don't go along with it, if I don't put somebody else first, they're going to be disappointed in me. They're going to be mad at me. They might think something about me. They might make judgments on me. So I go ahead and I put all of what I believe, what I feel good about to the side because I don't want to disappoint somebody else. This is so true when it comes to everything. Think about this. As I'm talking about it, think about circumstances and situations that you have found yourself in where this rings true. There might be stuff that maybe there's a gathering that's happening that you like the people going, but the activity maybe is something that you really don't want to do, or the cause is something that doesn't really mean much to you, but you feel the need to do it because if I don't do it, people are going to wonder why. People are going to be disappointed, and all of that comes with it. So why is this a problem? Why is this a huge problem? Like I said, because we are so focused about disappointing somebody else, so focused on what others are going to think of us, that we leave our values to the back burner. And every single time we put our values on the back burner, subconsciously, it tells us that what we're doing is justified. It's reinforcing the fact that we shouldn't come first and that our stuff does not matter in comparison to that of others. And that is a self self-defeating kind of prophecy right there, because we are just reinforcing within ourselves that the shit that we care about most isn't that important because it's going to make others feel less than. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and one of my friends had made a comment about this, and I think it's so true. You know, when you talk about, if you're having a conversation with somebody about people pleasing and you're like, oh, you know, I just don't want them to think any less of me, or I don't want them to think that they're not important to me. And what's the knee-jerk reaction that we usually have in response to that? It's, well, don't worry about what other people think. So what? And I think that whereas there's a knee-jerk reaction to that, that's just a way to fill in the space. It's what we kind of say to make people feel better or to help them not feel as guilty. I think that if we were able to do that, if we were not to worry about what others think and turn it off so quickly, a lot of us wouldn't struggle with this fact that, you know, people pleasing really is draining to us. So I want you to check yourself with that too. The next time that you find somebody saying something like, whether it's, I don't know if this outfit, you know, I don't know if this outfit's appropriate, or I feel comfortable wearing this outfit, but is it the most appropriate thing to wear to this function? Or what if I'm, you know, instead of using the knee-jerk reaction of, well, don't worry about what other people think, maybe switch your language and say something to them to the effects of, well, how does it make you feel? How do you feel when you wear that outfit? How do you feel when you say that? How do you feel when you, you know, when you're throwing a gathering and you're putting on your favorite music versus what everybody else likes, or you know what I mean? Like, what is that, you know? So, so think about that, because that's quite a different message. You're giving that person validation. You're giving that person reinforcement of what they like to do versus what the majority of the crowd does, if that makes sense. So I think that starting with being aware is the first thing. And the other thing is, you know, taking steps towards that awareness. Sometimes it's hard to get into action with things, but anything that you do to disrupt your thought pattern, anything you do, I like to call it like skipping the record. If you think about an LP record that runs smoothly when we're trying to break a habit, anything that you can do to disrupt the playing of that record is progress. So if you're finding yourself in a position where the people pleasing is coming into effect, whether it's people are going out, or whether it's saying yes to something that you don't want to say yes to because it doesn't serve you, but you don't want to disappoint someone. And even if you continue to say yes, I want you to really be aware of what it really feels like to you. Does this, you know, does following through with this yes instead of this no to people please, does this feel good to me? Am I just doing it because I don't want to explain myself? Am I just doing it because I don't want to disappoint somebody? Am I just doing it because part of me has a fear of missing out, but a bigger part of me would rather just sit home on my couch and be comfortable? You know, so I really want you to become more aware of why you're choosing to do what you do, even if you still do it. And if the awareness and the first things that start to come up is, well, I'm doing this because I don't want to disappoint someone, or I'm doing this because I don't want them to think any less of me, or I'm doing this because I don't know what they're going to say, or I don't know what they're going to think of me. And then bring it back, right? And say, well, how does it feel to me when I'm actually doing this? How does it serve me? And if the only thing you can come back to with why it's serving you is because you don't want to disappoint somebody, or because you're worried about what people will think of you, you really have to reevaluate moving forward with it. And that's a first step that you can take. So as I've told you guys, as I've shared, when I have clients that come into my program, my online program, in my Redefine Your Purposes and Anxiety Alchemy, a lot of times people struggle with these things. Most of my clients are actually struggle with high functioning anxiety, and this is a piece that we go over in greater detail. But just to scratch the surface, I want you guys to take from this just that piece. Your awareness of why you're doing something is really key. So if that is all you take from this, and that is something that you start doing in your everyday life when it comes to saying yes to shit that you don't want to do, when it comes to pleasing, you know, people pleasing, when it comes to fear of disappointing others, the guilt that comes with doing something for yourself and taking some time away from your family, when it comes to all of that, you need to just be more aware and reevaluate why you're making the decisions that you're making, and what and if they feel good to you. And that's what you have to do. That's a big, big start and a step there. So please let me know if this made sense to you guys. If you are just hearing this for the first time and you struggle with people pleasing and this resonated with you, let me know. Put something in the comments. Reach out to me. I always have open slots. They're filling up quickly lately, but I always have open slots for my free discovery call sessions where we go into a little more detail. I hear a little bit more about what you struggle with. And I talk to you about ways that we can work together so that we can stop you from having to struggle with this shit and to figure it out on your own, and to be able to put real strategies in place that work so that you can start feeling less drained, defeated, depleted, and really take control back of that high functioning anxiety. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will drop my link below if you wanted to sign up for a discovery call, but I would love to hear how all of this impacts you and things that you're looking to do, things that you're going to put in place to move forward after hearing this video. So thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day, and we will chat soon. Bye.